I'm Brandon Smith, and I'm the workplace therapist. My entire purpose and passion in life is one singular thing, and that's to help you live a life free from dysfunction. And let's be honest, folks, dysfunction is everywhere. Our bosses, our coworkers, our neighbors, even that grumpy barista that pours your coffee. And sometimes, that dysfunction stares back at us in the face when we're getting ready in the mornings and we see ourselves in the mirror. Well, at the end of the day, life and work should not have to suck. The purpose of this show is to help you overcome those roadblocks in your life to help you realize the life you've always wanted. This is the Brandon Smith Show. I am your host, Brandon Smith, and the purpose of this show is one singular thing, and that is to make your life a little less dysfunctional and all that much better. And so today we're going to be taking on that purpose, and we've got a particular path we're going to go down. We are going to be talking about gratitude and the importance of gratitude. And I'm here to welcome my guest, Tom Smith. So Tom, thanks for coming.
Very well. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Tom, did you notice my shirt today?
I did. I noticed that you've got a nice, incredible shirt, black shirt. It's very nice.
Last time you came on the show, since Tom's a regular, last time he came on the show, he was wearing a Dwight Yoakam T-shirt.
I know.
And I want Tom to feel a little more comfortable. So
Thank you.
I'm in my T-shirt today.
That's nice.
So we're talking about gratitude today. Now I know this isn't, as an economics professor, this isn't necessarily right in the middle of your wheelhouse, but I know this is a topic that you brought to me, and I totally agree with you. I think this is an awesome topic. So just before we jump into the topic and go into the nitty-gritty, for the folks that haven't heard you or seen you before, give a little bit of a snapshot of kind of what you do.
So I'm an economics professor at Emory University. I'm actually in the business school, so I teach finance and economics. I do consulting on the side for companies looking at their finance and helping them make better decisions. So that's what I do. I'm a former musician. I was a professional musician since I was like 14 years old. And so, and a husband and a father. And I take all those things seriously. I've mostly retired from music now, but I did play a little gig the other day. I'll talk to you about that.
Okay. So you wear a lot of hats.
I do.
But none of these seem to fit perfectly with gratitude. So tell me a little bit about how I got this voicemail from you this week where you said, dude, we've got to do this show on gratitude.
Yeah, so last time I was here, we were talking about a little bit of chaos and sort of like economics and chaos and what have you. And evidently a lot of people watched it, including my parents. And hi, Mom. so I was talking to my dad. Shout out to Mom and Dad. Shout out to Mom and Dad. You gotta love the shout outs. So I was talking to my parents, and my dad said, I really like the show, and I like the T-shirt, and he commented on the format and everything else, and the sort of the little go between that you and I have. And then he said, you know what would be a really great topic would be gratitude. Like he said, your mother's idea. My mother is a clinical psychologist, and she was
I like her already.
Yeah, she was a Spanish teacher for many years, and she has, oh my gosh, more degrees than most people on the planet. I mean, she's got degrees in Spanish and Spanish literature, and she has a degree in art, and then she went on and got her degree in psychology. And part of her ritual and her and my dad's ritual is that they have a moment during the day where they say, look, they sort of stop and say, you know what, this is what I'm thankful for today. Like, this is what I'm grateful for about our lives, So about the other person. So it's not just, hey, I'm thankful for the sky today. It's not necessarily that. It's more about, hey, I'm thankful for this life we have together. It could be any number of things. When I was talking to them, my mom said, look, it might be that we're really grateful that, our grandkids are healthy, right? Or they watch my brother's dog, and so they're like, we're really grateful that we have the opportunity to hang out with this little dog every day, because the dog is fun, right? Or we're grateful that, my mom said, it's starting to get nice in Illinois, and so they're like, we're going to start our garden pretty soon. I'm like, that's great. Like, we really look forward to that, and it's just so nice that we're going to have that to look forward to. So it could be any number of things, and I think that's one of the things that most of us miss, and why I thought, hey, it's a great topic, because you talk about curing dysfunction, trying to make your lives and your workforce and your workplace kind
totally.
of less crazy. And I think sometimes you just have to stop and just go, you know what, like that's really crazy, but this is what I have going for me, or this is what is working.
This is interesting because this is a different direction than I thought you were going to take it.
Okay,
I thought you were going to
interesting.
take it like how we can give gratitude to another person, and which it can be, but that's a subset of what you're going. You're saying we can just, it's more of a mindset.
It could be.
It's in general just like, hey, what do I have and how can I be thankful for what I have?
I think I was under the impression that it was more of the former myself.
Yeah.
Until I talked to my mom and had a little bit deep conversation about that. But I think that it can be both, right? And so I think that in a work environment, let's say, that maybe you're curing dysfunction by identifying the people who work around you and how they make you more productive, and by acknowledging that, like being grateful that they're doing their jobs well, or they're adding to your productivity. That's something that we miss all the time when we're in work.
Okay, all right. So let's try something.
Okay.
Let's build this thing together.
Yeah, you bet.
Okay, so I'm going to throw in the first one.
Okay.
And then you throw back another point.
Okay.
And we'll go. So here's my first point.
Okay.
So one of the things that I found in research around high performing teams is that the highest performing teams give each other positive to negative feedback at a ratio of 5-1. So they're giving gratitude to each other.
Yeah.
Like appreciating each other, positive feedback. You did a great job. Good to have you on the team. Awesome. Now, what's really cool about that ratio is the Gottman Institute, which studies marriages and personal relationships around the globe. They found that in watching couples that have been together a really long time, they give each other positive to negative feedback. When they sit down and watch them interact with each other and they code what they say, they're giving each other positive to negative feedback at a ratio of 5-1.
Wow.
Exactly the same thing. So I love that as a kind of initial first point around gratitude. One of the things we need to make sure we're doing is if we want people to hang with us over a long period of time and maybe even change behaviors, whether we're talking about a team we're working with, or colleagues, or even our spouse, like you need to be given more positive than negative. Now, on that point, researchers 3 years ago studied the weightiness of negative feedback. Okay. And they found that negative feedback was worth 3 positive feedback.
Yeah.
It's that much heavier. So the break even is 3-1. You give 3 positive, 1 negative, you're at like baseline.
Right.
But I found since like 2008, no one's given any positive feedback. It's just like, it's just like, you move my cheese, I'm going to let you have it. Otherwise, you're not hearing anything from me.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think it's simple. It's not hard. None of this is rocket science.
No.
It's just about intentionality.
Yeah.
And focus.
Yeah.
But I just find that that's really lacking today.
It is. It is. And so I find that it's lacking. So let me tell you some of the things that I do and try to fix that. So I mentioned that I teach, and so I'm in a classroom a lot. And when you're a professor, you're teaching, and then you're asking people to give you deliverables, right? Some kind of a homework assignment, and then you have to basically grade it and tell people what they did wrong. Like that is tough because it's like so easy for me to look at this and go, that's not right. That's 2 points off, 2 points off, whatever else.
Pen?
I use a green pen.
It's like all this studies that show that red is not.
Yeah, so I use green or purple or blue. I never use red. I swear, I usually get the Sharpies and I just use a green.
It's like royal feedback.
Yeah, no, it's very Mardi Gras-ish. And so
it's a royal party.
This is
how you screwed this up right here.
Yeah, and so that's got to be incredibly challenging to be like, you get something back and it's marked up and so I don't do any negatives. I put positives. So I put this is out of 5 points, I put a 5. If you got a 4, I got a 4. If it's 3 points out of 5, I put so it's always plus. And then I add up all the points and I just give you what your total points are. And so even if you totally screw up something, I am looking for, is there a nugget that tells me that you know some information here? And I'm like, okay, that's good. And I'll write, that's good. Or, oh yeah, you did this right. Not exactly. And I'll say, next time, do more explanation. I'll put a little smiley face.
So people would argue you're an optimist. They would call you an optimist.
Yeah,
Is that okay? Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Because here's the thing. Then they look at this and go, oh my God, like out of 60 points, I got 52 points, or I got 48 points. Like I want to do better. And then they'll come into my office and I'll say, okay, look at what you did right. Like you got that part right. so I know you're smart enough to do this. You made a mistake here. So how can we fix that? What information do you need me to do to help you with that? And that's just like a much more positive kind of approach. It's not exactly gratitude. And so where the gratitude part comes in, I think, is that throughout my semester, I will be very purposeful about telling my students how much I appreciate that they're smart, that they ask good questions, that they're contributing. So if like somebody's asked a really good question, I'll go, dude, that was a really awesome question, right? And so if they have a really good point, I'll say, that was a really, really smart point that you're making, right?
So you're looking for the good in others.
I am. I think you have to.
Well, I would hope everybody would do that, but I don't think most people don't.
Yeah, I don't think most people, it's not natural. We would like it to be natural. I don't think it is.
Yeah, I don't know if it is either.
I think you have to work on it. Even saying thank you is really, really hard. And so, like, here's an example. Like, it's not very easy for people to point out their failures, right? And so, here's one of my big failures. But I fixed it, and I fixed it right. So I had a colleague who gave me a really good lead on a project, right? And they're like, they're looking for this kind of person. I think you're the absolute perfect person for this job. And I went, oh, okay. So I went and met with this group, and yeah, I got a little contract with this group, and I did some good work with them or whatever else. And I saw the colleague, and I was like, hey, thanks for that referral. That was really awesome. I'm working with this group.
I'm not seeing where you screwed up.
And
yet.
So here's the thing: is that just like seeing him in the hallway and saying, hey, thanks for that was really cool. Like, thanks. And then I got back around to it, and I went, okay, so this was a contract that didn't last a year. It was like 6 months. It was a really nice contract. It was a really nice consulting gig. That was probably worth a whole lot more than a attaboy. And I was like, and after the fact, I was like, oh my God, here I am, like, this guy saw something in me to give me a referral. Like, how cool is that, right? And I was like, and all I said was, hey, dude, thanks. So then afterwards, I went out and I did a very special thing for this guy. I had a book that was made that was like folded. It was very, very cool. And then I gave it to the guy, and I said, look, here's the deal. You're a great colleague.
I've had you on this podcast a couple times now.
Yeah, you will. Actually, so
I don't know what a book folded means.
I'll have to show you. A folded book. It's very, very cool. But here's the thing: like, this guy's a great colleague, and I wanted to tell him, like, you're an awesome colleague. So I just gave him this gift, and he was like, wow, this is really cool. Like, why is that? I'm like, because you did this thing for me. I don't think I ever really fully appreciated what you did. And thank you so much. Like, that was really nice.
I think you are holding yourself to a very good standard, but a standard that most people don't hold themselves to. Because no one does this. I mean, you're putting forth all that extra effort. And I think you're right by doing it. But even like handwritten notes is one of the best ways to give someone a form of gratitude.
Oh my God,
and it's totally old school, and people don't do it.
Oh my God. And you know what? When you get it, so I've gotten this from students. I've gotten this from some of my colleagues at work. I've gotten some from my clients.
Yep.
And it's like, I open it up and I go, how awesome is that? Like, you spent 2 minutes. Here's a thing. So my son, after Christmas, he wrote a little hand note to like his grandmother and his older sibling, and like, oh, thanks for this Christmas present. That was really cool, right? And he just like gave it to him, and then Kelsey called me up and she's like, did you know that Trevor like wrote me a thank you note for this Christmas present? I went, yeah, I guess so. I mean, he said he was going to do it. And she's like, so I didn't get a note from any of their kids. And I'm like, yeah, I guess.
Your son did that?
Yeah, my son did that. I know, like, right? It was like, he was
winning.
Right? And it's like, dude, you don't even know like how awesome that is.
It's huge.
It's huge. And it took him like 2 minutes to do it. I mean, he just like found some note paper.
Those
and just
notes make a big difference. Big difference. You handwritten note to somebody, that tells them that you appreciate what they did.
Yeah.
People keep them.
Yeah.
I haven't thrown away any of those that I've gotten. I keep them, and often people will put them up in their like where they work, and they'll look at them and they'll be like, that one time I didn't suck. Like,
yes.
I was good that one time.
Yes.
It's like a reminder.
Okay, so I gotta tell you about this, and you're gonna notice this next time you come to my office. I have a I have a little shelf in my office on one side, and the shelf has nothing on it except for thank you notes. That's the whole shelf.
Nice.
I promise you, it's there.
It's like it's your gratitude shelf.
It is actually. It makes me feel good because I look over there and it's like, I can look and go, oh, that was from a student. Oh, that was from the copy center guy, or oh, that was from this person, or whatever else. And so sometimes at work, you'll find some organizations will try to do this. And so at Emory, like right around November, they have this whole like thank you campaign that you can and they have these things set out at at various places at the school where you can there's a little pad of paper that says thank you, and then there's little envelopes right there, and so you can just stop, you can just write it, you write somebody's name on it, and the copy center will deliver it. That's a very cool policy. I don't think very many people take advantage of it, but that's something you can do.
Again, none of this is rocket science. We're not talking about anything that is complex macroeconomic theory, right? This is basic, fundamental stuff.
Yeah.
But it just requires intentionality, and people have to be able to take a step back from all the reactive stuff that is hitting us all the time, and just say, I want to take a moment to do something proactive and thank this person.
But I don't think everybody's not motivated by words. Some people are motivated by deeds.
That's true too.
So I don't know.
It can be deeds. It can be words. It can just be a simple look in the person's eye. It just says, thank you.
Have you seen a company that actually does this well? You're like, oh my gosh, that company has a nice culture of engaging or trying to get their employees to show the positive feedback? Because you mentioned that 5-to-1 ratio.
Yeah, so generally speaking, the companies I see do this really well, their business model does it.
Oh,
so
okay.
Hospitality, restaurants, so they do it internally because it's what they want to promote that. So your Intercontinental Hotel Group, Chick-fil-A, some of those are really good at it internally.
Yeah.
Because that's how their business works. So in fact, I was talking to a former student, executive MBA student in Intercontinental Hotel Group, and he talked about they have a rule that, I can't remember what it is, but when you get within a certain number of feet to another colleague, you have to look at them in the eye and say hello and greet them.
Yeah.
You can't just walk by and pretend like they're not there.
I love that. I love that.
And so and it's down to the feet. So that you get within I don't know what it is, 10 feet. Then you got to look up and be like, hello, Tom, how are you today? And you have to make that.
4 feet and 8 inches. And you're walking around with a ruler going
no, you're going to make it.
I want to back away from you so I don't have to say hello.
Yeah.
I like that.
But I do find it tends to tie, the ones where it's more natural, it ties to the business model.
Right.
But that's not to say we shouldn't all be doing it.
Okay.
That's the thing.
Okay.
So I did a TED Talk last February, and it was on contagiousness of emotions in the workplace.
Right.
And all the research around it talk about something called emotional labor. Mm-hmm. And so some jobs have more emotional labor than others.
Okay.
Where it's just harder. And when they define emotional labor, they talk about the emotions you have to put on when you're dealing with someone is different than what you're getting from them.
Yeah.
So for example, think of like a hospice nurse.
Right.
They've got to be super upbeat and positive and caring and kind while this person's either not feeling good or dying.
Right.
Waiters and waitresses, those kinds of roles. And so it's really important that we're intentional when we're interacting with those people, that we're giving them some form of gratitude.
Right.
They're every day fighting with what they are, how they have to act versus what they're feeling.
Right. Right.
That's hard, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. I like that. I'm going to do some research on this because I think that there's ways for some companies to try to promote that, even if it's not natural. And so, like you said, the hospitality industry, it's natural because if you're checking into a hotel, you've just been on a plane, you're trying to get your rental car, it just basically just promotes you're going to walk into you're tired, you're hungry, you're miserable, you're been rained on.
And people that go into those professions they like service, they like that. But what if you're in manufacturing?
Right.
Or you're in some other that's not necessarily what draws you to that industry, but that doesn't mean you still can't be grateful for what you have or the people around you.
Yes. Yes. The other thing that I was thinking about when I was driving over here was that we typically we typically think about like being grateful to somebody if they've finished their task. You know, they're like, okay, in order for me to do this from you, I need this. Like, I got to do this, so you got to give me this thing, right? And then I'm like, I got it, and I go, thanks, Mitch, for basically, for sending this up to me, right? Whatever else. And so, but chances are excellent that there's somebody who helped Mitch. There's somebody who's helping you. There's somebody who's like running, all types of like kind of ground level, the war on the grass, if you will, like getting things done. I don't think that we appreciate those people enough, right? And so it's like, again, you mentioned like sort of going out of the way, and maybe maybe you have to be very conscious about this, but like I might, before Christmas, I might drop off like a little basket of like hand lotion or what have you to the people at the copy center.
Again, I have not gotten any hand lotion.
Work at the copy center, dude. not since I remember, right? And so, but here's the deal: like, think about these people. Like,
and
walk
why are
in.
you giving them hand lotion? Did
you know what? Or
like hand lotion, or
one of them actually does. Like, one of them, she's always talking about like her hands being dry or whatever else. And so, or if someone's like they've always got a Starbucks card, and you're like, oh, like, let's give them a Starbucks card or something like this, right? We used to have somebody who worked for us. She was at that main desk at Emory. She had worked there for like 1,000 years. Roz. She was terrific, right? And so I was talking to her once, and she was talking about her fingernails. And she was really unhappy with her fingernails or whatever else. And so I went upstairs, and I said to Tanya, who's one of my administrative assistants, I was like, where's Roz get her nails done? Like, a fill and whatever else, a manicure or what have you. And she's like, I don't know. I'm like, can you find out? And she's like, okay. So she found out, and I called them up and I said, look, I want to buy a gift certificate for my friend Roz to like come in and get her nails done, because she was complaining about it today.
You got Roz a gift certificate?
I actually just bought her like a whole manicure, fill, the whole thing, right? And so I don't know why.
Dude, you are a good guy. I loved Roz. Roz was salty.
Roz was terrific. She was great.
I loved her. She could be salty.
She was great.
You appreciated her. I think that's awesome.
But I mean, she had a hard job, and everybody walked in like.
Okay, so she does. Now I want to step back, and Roz is a good example of this. So when we talk about gratitude, I think it's really important that people look at it from the context of this is emotional intelligence applied.
Yeah.
Okay, so EQ, the way I look at EQ is peripheral vision.
Yeah.
EQ is like, what are you seeing around you? People with low EQ, they just see like right in front of them.
Right.
They've got little blinders on. And the bigger your emotional intelligence, the more you are aware of the people around you.
Yeah.
You're thankful for them. And then even the layer that's one step removed. Right?
Yeah.
So not only the people right around you, but also the people around them too.
Yeah.
And thinking about that and then doing something about it.
Yeah.
And so you're really talking about EQ applied, because everyone talks about, we talk about it all the time with leadership in the business school and then outside the business school with my clients about emotional intelligence. But I think it's hard for people to get, what does it actually look like? That's what this is.
That's smart. That's a smart thing to say. So here's another example, right? So like my wonderful shirt, it says My Cubbies on it. So we were talking about it outside, and so My Cubbies won the World Series. I can say that again because it's really fun to say.
So you're the owner of the Cubs?
I am really. I'm the owner of the Green Bay Packers actually, and so I own a piece of stock in the Green Bay Packers, but I don't actually own the Cubs, but I possess them really. So anyway, my wife had this shirt made for me, right? And so made all the names of the players are in the back in different fonts. And so I was super thrilled. We watched all the World Series games and what have you. And she has been on my case, like, when are you going to wear that shirt? When are you going to wear that shirt? I mean, on my case is like, she asks me every once in a while, have you worn that shirt yet? When are you going to wear that shirt? And I was thinking, I'm going to save the shirt for a Cubs game, right? Like, so I can wear it to a Cubs game. I'm like,
are we at a Cubs game right now?
No, we're not. So here's the deal. So she's been asking me about this, and I'm like, okay, sometimes gratitude, like I really like the shirt, but she doesn't know how much I like the shirt until I actually wear the shirt, right?
Okay, I'm following you.
So it's like, okay, you know what? We have a little thing going on with T-shirts. I knew that we did because we didn't talk that we were going to do this, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to wear the shirt that my wife
You called me, and then I emailed you. That's our.
Well, there is that. There
That's
is
our
that.
thing.
There is that thing. Yeah. So anyway, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna wear the shirt that my wife had made for me on this to like say, hey, I really like this shirt. Like it's good enough to wear to the Brendan Smith show. So, but here's the deal. Like, so she noticed it this morning. She was like, you're wearing my shirt. I'm like, yeah. She's like, you really do like this shirt. Yeah, I love this shirt. Oh wow. I'm like, I said 14 times how much I love this shirt. But it was it was
your
still
point, you had to do action for her to see it, so you can just say it.
Words
you had to
are
actually do something.
Yeah, words aren't always enough. Like because some of us are we are word driven, like a thank you note, yeah. And other times people are action driven, right? And so deeds. And so the deed was I needed to put the shirt on for her to really embrace that this was a cool thing, right?
Okay, so all right. So let's see if we can tie it to this. So
Yeah.
at the end of every show, we get the 5-minute mark. I always ask for a life hack.
Yeah.
So what's a life hack you've got? Maybe it's related to this. What's something we could be doing that's going to make our lives a little less dysfunctional, either personally or professionally?
So this is it's in the same vein, but it's slightly different.
Go for it.
Okay. All right. So I have a saying with my kids about it's actually a very fun saying, safety third. Okay. And so everyone we'll be list and be like, okay, what do you guys want for dinner? They're like, well, we want chicken or maybe sliders. And I'll go, what's third? And they'll go, safety. Okay. So safety third. And I'm like, what is this? What's the life hack? The life hack here is getting some kind of a fun inside family joke that you can always just like go back to. That's like gives you like a reset at any moment, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're like, how would you use that? So what if the kid doesn't do the homework, right? And I'll say, okay, so you didn't do your homework. Like 1, you got to get a good grade. Like 2, your teacher's mad at you. 3, safety. And then the kid will be like, they'll crack up a little bit, and it'll be like, okay. And then I'll go, seriously, like you need to do this. You know that I got to get on your case about this because this is my job. But remember, safety third.
No, I think
it's like an inside, inside family joke.
I love it. Inside jokes work really well in both the workplace and at home, and it just makes things lighter. So yeah.
So I gotta make sure I'm getting the show the shirt.
Sure. Okay, all right, Tom.
And just FYI, like my kid, he bought me a Christmas present and he got me a little watch, and on the watch it says family, number 1, family, number 2, friends, 3, safety. And it was like, and so it's like the life hack is getting a thing that you can all, like a common bonding element that allows you to sort of go, oh yeah, we're part of, we've got a,
so
we're
to that
part
point,
of a thing.
I'm wearing my Mr. Incredibles t-shirt today.
Yeah.
Because my kids and I, and my family, we've gone to Disney a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And one year we dressed up as the Incredibles, full on, and went through the entire park. And I do have that picture. And so now, this is part of our thing.
Right? And you gotta have a thing. You gotta have a thing you can fall back on.
All right, Tom. Awesome. Thanks for coming.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I'm not going to ever be able to get rid of you, am I?
No.
I didn't think so. Okay. So Tom Smith, folks, awesome. So glad to have him. Tom, so here's what I learned today. I learned that gratitude means more, it's actions, it's words, but it's also appreciating what you've got. It doesn't necessarily mean saying something to another person. It can just be thankful for what you've got.
I think so.
And then I also found very tactically that just having an inside joke, even inside your family or even at the workplace, is another way to kind of create those bonds. And even, as you said, it's in the vein of gratitude. It builds some of that connection and appreciation. Totally love that. I love everything we got to cover today. And I love the fact that you all got to listen. So continue to join the fight against workplace dysfunction every single week. We're here Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern, Facebook Live. So you can watch us Facebook Live at Facebook Live /Brandon Smith WPT, or just check back for our episodes again every Thursday, 9 a.m. And if you want to learn more about resources available to you or your organization, go to my website, theworkplacetherapist.com. And of course, my job is to help you have a better life, less dysfunctional, because at the end of the day, work and life should not have to suck. So until I see you all and you hear from me and us next week, have an awesome week and an awesome life. I'm Brandon Smith, and I'm the workplace therapist. My entire purpose and passion in life is one singular thing, and that's to help you live a life free from dysfunction. And let's be honest, folks, dysfunction is everywhere. Our bosses, our coworkers, our neighbors, even that grumpy barista that pours your coffee. And sometimes, that dysfunction stares back at us in the face when we're getting ready in the mornings and we see ourselves in the mirror. Well, at the end of the day, life and work should not have to suck. The purpose of this show is to help you overcome those roadblocks in your life to help you realize the life you've always wanted.